Oh, hi all and welcome to the shed, hey. We've been doing some work on the lower control arms on the front of this Nissan X-Trail T30 here. It's needed some work done on those. I'll show you in a little clip here the ones that we were getting removed. You will notice when I show them to you that they've got splits about 3/4 way around the wrist pin that's here. So they needed replacement. So I'll insert that here. Okay, so you can see those there, they were about done and had it. So we bought these polyethylene bushes for the lower rear and for the front as well. So we did the front ones, they weren't too bad, but we did them anyway because we've got the control arms off and might as well do the whole lot at the same time and replace them that way. Now these are a press fit into here. You can buy this whole piece here with the rubber in it. That's pretty much, you can do that. However, we wanted to put the polyethylene ones on because you get a bit of wheel alignment out of those and they just do run better. So we went that way. Now they are pressed into there and that's an aluminium casing and it's an aluminium control arm as well. So I took them to a workshop to get those done because I don't have a press to do those. Now they actually, when I picked them up, the first thing he said to me was they were an absolute pain, and I thought that wasn't too good. So it probably cost me around about an hour and a half of labour time to get those done. I won't say how much, but that's what it cost me to get those done. So they're ready to go back in. Now for them to go in, to take them out, they've got at the back, they've got 2 bolts that go up into the chassis, and at the front they've got this bolt here and nut, and that goes through a cross member there as well, and the bolt goes from the back forwards with the nut at the front of the control arm. Okay, and also then you've got the ball joint on the outside there. It's a taper ball joint, so you need to undo the nut that's at the top of that. There it is. And before you do that, of course, there is a split pin that goes in there as well, just to stop that nut from coming off. Now that ball joint is directly under the drive shaft, so there's no room to get on top of that ball joint to knock it down. So I wedged a old cold chisel in between the ball joint and the drive shaft and popped it down. It actually came out pretty simply, which surprised me. Okay, so they're about ready to go in. This vehicle has done a bit of beach work, so something's a little bit frozen on it. And the bolts here, these 2 bolts at the back, they were tight, very tight all the way out, which is a bit of a surprise, and it was a right little fight to get those out, which is another reason why I didn't do these, because they're a cast aluminium and the bushing around, the metal ring around the bush is metal, and metal tends to freeze to aluminium quite freely. So there you go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically put that back up in and show you what it looks like when it's in there. So apart from undoing those 2 bolts there, the one at the front, the ball joint, and the other thing is there is the sway bar link here that needs to come undone as well. So one of the things when you're putting these in is you put it all together, bolt it up, but don't do everything up tight until you raise the suspension to normal operating level. It will help these bushes settle themselves in a little bit better if you do that. Yeah, if you tighten everything up fully with the suspension extended and then put it down, it puts a little bit more extra stress on those parts. Alrighty, so I'm going to pop that back up into place and then I'll give you a look at what it looks like. Okay, so we've got the control arm back in. We actually did the sway bar bushes while we're at it as well. So nice polyethylene bushes in there, so that's good. That bushing at the front, there is it. There we go, just in there. That was probably the hardest one to get in. It was just a matter of having to wriggle it up into there and getting like a podgy bar to line up the holes. Once we've got the holes lined up, you're able to put that pin through there. Once we've got that pin through there, we're able to put in the 2 bolts that are here. So we did those up, a little bit of time either side to bring that up on nice and even. So that was done. Before we did those bolts up, I got the ball joint nut put back on. So with the ball joint nut, they like to spin the pin on the ball joint itself. So if you put a jack on the underside and jack it up a bit, put some weight on that, it stops that pin from spinning, and you can do that up. Don't forget the split pin on these ones to stop that bolt winding off, just a little safety. And then the control arm link bolt back on as well. They're a little bit tricky. They've got an Allen head. I'll see if I can get back and show that. They've got an Allen head lock bolt in the middle, and then the nut on the outside, so that's a little bit tricky. You can't quite do that with a socket. You have to use a spanner and the Allen key to do it up. So that's that. That's all back together. We have tightened those all up with the suspension down, which you wouldn't do that with a rubber bushing, because the rubber bushing, the metal housing on the inside is bound to the rubber. With these nolothane bushes, that centre pin, the bush can actually move around on that centre sleeve, on the centre pin. So we've been able to tighten those all up. So that's all ready to go. Okay, so make sure the bolts are tightened up. When you're done, get a wheel alignment done, and that's it. Pretty easy to do most of that work yourself at home. Just those, getting those pins, the bushes pressed in and out, need to be done at a workshop for us. We couldn't do that. We didn't have the gear at home to do that. Okay, there you go. Thanks for watching. Bye.